The Radium Podcast, episode 67. We got KDE in the building, KDE on the beat, KDE on the boards.
Ziggy Beats in the house today.
Ziggy Beats back on the couch.
He's been cooking up all morning.
He doesn't care. He doesn't give a damn about anything. All right, today we're talking about speed. Talk about speed.
It's about working really slow like a tortoise.
Yeah.
Usually the slower that you work, the more you get done.
Yeah, drop an album every 6 to 9 months, maybe a year, maybe a single like every year, 2 years, maybe something like that.
Until you get it perfect. Right?
Yeah, make sure the music's perfect before you drop it because everybody's waiting on you. They're waiting on your music. They're waiting on your release. You're a poppin' artist, and you need to really go slow and work your stuff. Just make sure it's perfect.
The less releases you do, the more people are going to pay attention because they're bigger.
Because they're waiting on you.
They're waiting.
Yeah.
You know.
The most highly anticipated album of the year by Ziggy Bubbles. Independent artist with no clout. Even if you got 100,000 followers on Instagram, nobody's anticipating your music drop. So what do you got to do? You got to drop with speed. And I think actually probably the best example.
Speed goes into everything.
Yeah, speed goes into everything.
You got to work fast. You got to make fast. Best example is what?
I would say the best example of dropping fast is what Guapdad 4000 is doing in the last year. He's really taken off his music career. We had him on the podcast last year, and he was just talking about how he's just getting into music. But then he had a release and a strategy of dropping like literally every 2 weeks to a month. And had features on everything and had cloud on everything and music videos on everything and really blew it up. And now he's got, he's hitting millions of views on his YouTubes. He's getting streams in the hundreds of thousands on his Spotify, his Apple Music, and he's building his business. Obviously, not everybody gets a big major head start like Guap. Because he did have a following, he did have some Drake, cosigns. He had other people. He's had viral videos. He has a brand. He's a established name in, just
that's funny though.
On the internet,
he has it. He just has it. I think.
Yeah, and he's got talent.
I was about to say, I think he just worked for a lot of those things.
Facts, 100%. But he's got talent too, and charisma, and he's funny. And I think as an artist, I'm not just here to praise the Ferragamo Falcon, but I am trying to point out that he's doing it right. And good job, killing it, Guap. But I do want to say, you got to find your lane. You got to find out what you're good at, who you're gonna be, what you're gonna do. And then you just got to go fast. And you just got to crank.
Yeah.
On everything.
I'm just going to riff off of this. You got to have the 10,000 hours. That's what we mean by fast. Is you got to create a lot of music really fast. And it's not because you need to maybe release every freaking day of the week.
No.
But
you got to get your practice in.
You got to get your practice in. Because if you're spending 6 months on a single song, you know what I mean? You need to do 10,000 songs or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're never going to hit that. You're never going to be good.
Facts.
So learning to finish things, working on stuff, and knowing to get them to a certain quality, and getting your skills sharpened, man. It's if you're only writing one song and you just keep re-editing the same song, you're not going to become a good songwriter.
Absolutely. I think a really good lesson to learn from Drake. Great example, right? He dropped a lot of singles, a lot of mixtapes, a lot of random stuff that I don't really feel like he was great on, but he had a sound, he had his vibe, he was singing, he was rapping. It was kind of new, kind of fresh, and he kind of just went really deep into that and started, getting really fast. He was dropping stuff. He would drop a single, he'd drop 2 songs at a time in between albums, etc., and then he'd drop another album. So I think that that's a really important aspect of this. You don't really, I get a lot of, I need marketing, I need promo, I need a manager. I'm like, no, you don't. Nobody needs a manager, marketing, or promo when they don't have a product and they're not at the level where they can actually have something to manage or something to promote at that level. I think that a big part of this is getting ahead of yourself. And what I see a lot also in the production phase is everybody wants to get to the final master fast, right? They want to skip all these steps. And these are the steps that make it a record. And they want to go, okay, I recorded the vocal on top of the beat on YouTube, and now I put an isotope limiter on it, and then I drop it because it's done. And I think that's the not the right way to do fast, right?
Yeah.
We got to be really careful about what fast means. But I do think that you need to learn the process of the full record process and figure out how you can speed it up by hiring out or by doing the things you do really well. And I would say focus on maybe half a dozen at the very top. So you're writing, you're singing, you're, recording yourself.
Maybe managing it.
Yeah, maybe you're managing the project and you're really good at graphic design and write-ups and stuff for emails or whatever. But just focus on those half a dozen things. Don't try to get good at everything. Don't sit around and watch YouTube videos on mixing and mastering, on production if you're not good at those things. It will take you a lifetime. And I don't think you'll be able to drop quick enough if you're really focusing on that kind of stuff. And I see it all the time with artists that want to do that stuff, and I get it. I think that's important. You gotta want to be a part of the process. But if you're gonna go learn how to be a producer and an artist over the next 6 years, it's gonna be a long journey, and you can really shorten that journey.
Yeah. So just like any business, you really need to focus on what things you do well, and then you need to, like Brad said, hire it out, put it elsewhere. And you need to hone in on your skills. So a lot of these artists, they don't even know how to record.
Right.
You're not a lot of these artists think they're recording artists just because they have a mic in their bedroom.
Right.
But I put them in a real recording situation, and they will be the slowest part of the chain. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
If you come in with a session with me, and you don't know how to write while in the studio, like you're on the mic writing.
Yeah, you better be ready with.
Then you're not at that level, because you're going to be the slowest part of the chain. If you're out here with your pen and paper,
right?
You know what I mean? You're going to be the slowest part of the chain. And I'm saying that because I've been in with a lot of artists. I've recorded big ones, and I can tell you, it's the stream of conscious. They're coming up with shit just off the top of their head, and they're punching it either line by line or 6 bars, 8 bars in, and they're going, or they're writing the melody, on the spot, coming out, at least penning the lyrics to the melody, but they're writing really fast. You know what I mean? It's not this thing where they're massaging a piece. And if they're gonna massage a piece for themselves or something like that, then it's gonna be something they wrote really fast and then they took it apart. But at least they knew how to complete something, and that's really what it is. Real artistship, and this is something that my boy G-Eazy said. But real artistship, and a lot of artists are stuck and caught in the phase of doing things because they actually haven't been able to take it to that level, and it takes a long time to get to the level of some of these quote unquote artists, because they're producing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're caught up in other stuff.
And I'm not saying they're making the beats; they're producing content. You know what I mean? They're,
yeah.
Like an artist like a G-Eazy or, people I've worked with like a French Montana, they have to do so many verses a day or, so many songs. They're, how many people come in for features for them?
Right.
And a lot of these features may not release till 6 months to a year. But if they want to get stuff out there constantly, they got to be doing it constantly. So they're shitting out verses, hooks, whatever it is all the time. And that's how they stay relevant. You know what I mean? So you want to play on that level, you have to go fast, and you have to be able to know how to get in the studio and write, 5 songs a day or 6 songs a day. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean?
I think a really good tip of advice, it comes from different books everywhere. Obviously, there's the compound effect. Darren Hardy, he talks about compounding and how everything's going to take longer than you expect it's going to take. And the persistent and consistent actions of doing something and making it a habit is going to make something hit momentum, right? So you're going to hit momentum with something that's going to become a lot easier, but it won't become easier until you make it a habit, a daily habit of making the music, writing the songs, finishing the songs. I don't mean making 1,000 starts to songs. I mean really finishing a process and doing the hard stuff,
2
staying
verses.
Focused. Right. And
potentially a bridge.
Right.
Hooks.
Go all the way through.
Yeah.
The hard stuff is where everybody stops. Once they hit a roadblock and they go, I don't really feel like I can't get a bridge right now, they stop. And that's the failure, right? If you do that and you keep making starts all the time, you're never going to finish a song and you won't finish a product. And then there's another idea from this is the 10X from Grant Cardone, where it's, it's going to take 10 times longer. It's going to cost 10 times more money. It's going to be, 10 times the amount of energy that you expect. So just put that in up front. So if you know that you're going to make 50 songs and only 2 of those songs are going to be getting finished and released, then you need to plan to make 50 songs a month or whatever it takes to get an album done.
Talk about Bieber's and how many songs they created.
Yeah. Bieber is like really interesting. One year at the ASCAP Expo, I think it was 2 years ago, they had what's his face on a panel.
They had the Purpose panel.
Yeah,
right?
the whole panel, right? So the A&R from Purpose,
producers.
Yeah, producers, different guest producers, co-producers on the panel, and they were talking about how they had like
his
basically
writer too, right?
Yeah.
Pooh Bear.
Yeah, Pooh Bear was on the panel as well. And they were talking about how many songs they had written for that album. And the A&R on the project, she was like, listen, I got to a point where they were sending so many songs and they were writing so many songs every day that I made a folder on whatever, Dropbox or something, And she was like, you can only have 12 or 16 songs, I don't remember the number, in this folder at one time. So if you guys add another song, you got to take one out. And so they got into this practice where they're like trying to beat the songs every time, but they're finishing tons of songs. And they go through this process and they're like, bam, 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 and they just make tons and tons of songs. And then Pooh Bear, he's telling this story on the panel, so I'm kind of like reiterating it. You can probably find it somewhere online. But he's talking about then they finished everything, whatever happened, right? And he's like, and then I was out at this event and Quincy Jones was there. And I started talking to him about the album and Purpose and how it went. And he was asking me, he was like, yeah, how'd it go? Was it great? And then he goes, well, how many songs did you guys have? Total. What was the total song count? And Pooh Bear was like, oh man, so many. I think we had like 46 or something, right? And Quincy goes,
no, they had 100, right?
Yeah, something like that, 100 or something like that.
Songs, yeah.
Something crazy. And Quincy's like, yeah, so for Thriller, we had about 400. It was like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're talking about an album. That's an album. Like, and these are finished songs. These aren't like, oh, we got these demos and we're just done with these demos. They're all right. It was like they wrote the full song. They were in the studio. They mixed it, mastered it, got it to a certain point where it was like, this is the song. It's done. It's ready to go to, whoever the mixer, like Manny Marquine or whoever would be on it. It would be ready to go, And that's what it takes. Like, that's exactly what it takes. Everybody wants to be, Drake. Everyone wants to be Justin Bieber, but they don't want to go make 100 songs for an album and chisel it down to 12.
Yeah, and that's what it takes for greatness. You know what I mean? Is you have to have like a really strong product, and if you only go record 10 songs and then you have 10 songs, that's your album. Of course, it's not going to be.
Yeah, it's not that great.
You're not going to have a bunch of top tier songs, and you're not going to have a top tier album. You know what I mean?
Even Drake wouldn't do that. I don't think any of the top artists in the world would ever do that. Like, we made 10 songs in a row. Now let's just put it out.
Well, some of them that you'd be surprised, but I don't know how long they'll be top artists for.
Right, facts, and a lot of those songs are fillers, right?
Yeah, there's a lot.
So
of
they don't do
especially
anything
nowadays. So I wouldn't put it past it.
Yeah.
But I want to jump to getting fast on releases and why that's important. I think releases are like the hardest part for a lot of artists to understand. They don't understand how it happens, how to be successful at it, where should I put my money, all that stuff. And we've covered all this in several podcasts, so that's not what I'm trying to get to.
With guests that do this every day for a living.
Yeah, social media people,
right.
Dimples, who's on, used to work with Capitol Records.
Right, not just us just like making up shit.
Us just like talking out of our ass.
Right.
But back to what I was saying, you have to go through the process and figure it out, because you could go and learn all these tips, but the only way you're really going to get successful at something is by doing it yourself, because every artist is different. You got to figure out where your target markets, what platforms you're going to do well on, where are all your streaming numbers. Most of your followership might be going to Apple Music and not Spotify.
Right.
So if you're paying for Spotify playlists, it might not be you. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like you have to figure out that. You have to figure out all these things, and there's only one way to do it, which is to do it over and over and over again.
Yes, that's the number one piece of advice. If you guys take anything out of this podcast whatsoever, is that you're never going to have the answers until you actually go through the actions. And it's so easy for people to sit in a room and come up with ideas and what worked for so-and-so. And, well, you know what? So-and-so did this and it worked for them.
They did TikTok and they blew up on TikTok.
Facts. Everybody wants to talk about that. We get in the room every day in the studio and people got ideas, right? But they've never done it themselves.
Spotify playlists have never been playlisted before.
They've never been on playlists, and this is how we're going to do it because so-and-so did it. You have to go through the ringer. You can learn from other people,
You got to spend the money. You got to spend it, and that's what we always tell artists, too. It's like you have to try all these things, everything that's everyone's ever talked about, playlisting,
right?
Getting challenges going on TikTok, going through YouTube, playlisting too, and not just Spotify. But you have to try all these different lanes. Try running up the blogs. Try running up,
and do it fast. Because that's the whole point, right? Like, do it fast so you can learn quickly.
No, the point I was trying to get to is, do it fast. Keep trying it out. Try different release strategies, different singles, until you find your market. And then, where you get the results, double, triple, quadruple down on it, right?
Yeah, hone in on that.
Yeah.
I think the biggest, number one mistake, everything else I've said in the podcast, they're all just, they very small compared to this. The number one mistake artists today, producers today are making in any music genre, I don't care what it is they're planning way too much. They're strategizing something they know nothing about. They don't have any songs released. They've dropped 5 songs, 10 songs, 1 album, and they never did it right or had any idea what they were doing. They just went to DistroKid, uploaded, and they said, I don't know what I'm doing.
Put it up and pray.
Right.
Yeah.
But then they come up with all these strategies for their next release. Mm-hmm. They sit around, they strategize. Bro, I'm not going to drop until we got a strategy. That is the biggest mistake anyone in music starting out year, 2, 3 years in can make. Drop your music.
But there are people
Figure it out.
Who are dropping with no strategy, so it's drop with strategy.
Sure, but learn as you go. Like, don't sit there and hold on to music.
Don't let the strategy prevent you from dropping.
Facts.
These
guys, dude, I talk to artists every day on the phone, text, DM, I don't care, whatever it is. And the number one thing, the number one biggest misconception and mistake that they're making and these ideas in their head is that they got to have this perfect strategy and plan and they're going to drop in 6 months and blah, blah, blibbity, blah. Like, you don't have a budget. You don't have anybody looking at your music. You don't have anything going. Just drop the music, please, for God's sake.
Yeah. So with dropping music, you think you really have to figure out where that middle ground is. I think you've probably heard us talk about stuff that was probably contradictory potentially on this podcast.
The music business is contradictory.
Yeah. But
it'll change in 6 months.
Yeah,
it'll change
what we're
in 2
telling
months.
you, everything we're telling you, hopefully is correct. You know what I mean? I would say I put my life on it that a lot of what we've said is like pretty freaking accurate.
Well, yeah, I mean,
you have to find the middle ground, and that middle ground, like I said, doesn't come from anything but practice. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You might be the artist that needs to drop yearly. You might be the artist that needs to drop every 3 months.
Facts.
It depends on the style of music, what genre. There's so many factors people do not understand.
Absolutely.
But the only way you can do it is to try everything and figure out where it works.
What works for you?
Yeah.
Because every genre is different. If you're in trap music right now and you're not dropping,
yeah,
you're a moron. You have no idea what you're doing. Like, what are you, crafting the masterpiece trap album of the year? Like, no. Everyone's beating the hell out of you. They all have the same beats. Everyone's doing the same thing in trap music. If you're not going to do something completely different, don't worry about when you drop. Like, you really got to put music out. You got to figure out where your audience is. If you sound like Travis Scott, then drop like Travis Scott drops. Roll it out like that. Make an emotion picture.
Yeah. We've talked about so much from, running ads. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you do not run ads and try that out, you know what I mean?
You'll never know.
You'll never understand where markets. You won't get the analytics on anything. You'll just be
You need the numbers. You need to collect the data. You're not going to collect the data by like looking at your Instagram and going,
oh, I got 50
organically, organically 50 people looked at my thing, and they half those are bots, half of it is just like doesn't make any sense. If you have ads, you run ads, you can direct it directly to specific markets and target things and see how it reacts. If you're getting a cost per click that's really low, you can see that people really care about it, or figure out the factors why people are clicking on it. When it gets the click through, what's your view rate on YouTube? What's your stream rate on Spotify analytics, Google analytics? Look at the numbers. Quit faking yourself out. A lot of artists are buying streams. They're buying plays on YouTube. They're buying comments, likes on YouTube. They have no idea what's really going on with their music career, and they're completely delusional, and they're deluding themselves into thinking they're a big artist when really they're just like making music and dropping music for bots and for third-party places that are streaming and they're paying to run up streams. And look, that's a practice, I think, that you can do it in the beginning. You can start to do a little bit of, Spotify, pay for Spotify plays or playlisting. It's a good little practice just to get a little bit of numbers and see that, it can like get pushed into the algorithm a little bit more. But after just 6 months to a year of doing that, you're going to be shooting yourself in the foot because you're not going to understand who really messes with your music. It's not the robots, dude. It's not like those streams aren't going to bring other people in, and people organically, they're going to mess with your music. They're just going to look and see, this has a lot of streams. Maybe I'll check it out. But it doesn't mean you'll understand the market that actually likes the music. So you have to really pay attention. Go to Twitter search. Great tip, right? Go to Twitter search or twitter.com/search. Search hashtags and your music, your style of music, the drops you've done, and see who's actually tweeting about it. Like, it's organic. Like, you need to talk to those people. You need to understand where your market is, who messes with your music, and you need to talk to and engage with those people. Same thing with Instagram. Look at the hashtags, look at the analytics, look at who's actually the people, because there's people behind those accounts. But if you're paying for bots and you're paying for run up, all this stuff, you have no idea. Those are not people. Those are just zeros and ones. It's a computer. So I highly recommend you understand the analytics. You understand who messes with your music, and you get out there, do interviews, do podcasts. Go pay to do that stuff. Don't pay to get streams. Don't pay to get views on YouTube. It's not going to do much for you. And it's actually being devalued right now. Like, heavily devalued is paying for plays, paying for streams, and paying for all that stuff, because there are so many bots. And there's actually a really interesting story about the Adam 22 talks about this. He breaks it down. But there's this artist that dropped from like India or something, broke all the viewing records on YouTube. And it's like got over 40 million views on his thing in one day, right? It's so funny to me because he's talking about this. Nobody knows this guy. Nobody cares about this guy until he gets on the news, because he's been basically pushing Google ads. He's got so much money that he's pushing Google ads to go pre-stream and stuff, and it counts as a stream on your YouTube video. So he broke all these YouTube first day records and everything, but he's nowhere on the charts. He's not getting paid anything for it. I mean, his return on investment, I don't know what it is. I'm talking about him here right now, so hopefully it's something. But think about this. To get over 40 million streams on YouTube video through using the ad platform, you've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's insane. That's dumb.
Yeah. I'll say it too, like I've already said before, you have to figure things out, because if you do not figure things out, you're going to be running in circles. And I feel like a lot of artists are doing that. They're running in place. That's what I like to say. Like, there's not scaling on their releases.
And that's not fast. That's treadmill.
That's not fast. That's the fast in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're like,
you can be running
as hard as you
direction.
can on a treadmill.
Yeah.
You
needed to go right, and you went left instead, and now you're all the way left, and you're still running left.
But that's important. Like you were saying before, Kev, it's like, it's like getting really quick at figuring that out. Like
you got to be adapting.
You have to go through the process though.
Yeah.
Like that's the R&D, man. Like you can copy things and you can learn strategies from people and the Radium podcast. Ding, right? But in the long run, like that's it. You could take some advice, you could take some strategies, but then you got to run with it and see if it works for you.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's not working for you and you're going in the wrong direction, you got to switch real quick, you know? You got to be like, that's not working. We tried that for a month. We tried that with the last drop. Didn't work out too well.
Brad talked about this too. You have to figure out how something, if it's working or not.
Right.
And that's what a lot of artists do not do too, is they do not do analytics. They do not track anything. They spend money blindly.
Yep.
They put 5,000 into this release, and then this release did better because they put 300 into it, but they don't know why, what the difference is, and where. You know what I mean?
Dude, it's insanity. I think also we run off this like idea, this virality idea, where you could think your record just killed it and you dropped it the right way, but it just got reposted by someone that was big.
Yeah.
And it's like, that has nothing to do with your music.
Well, sometimes if that is the making difference, then maybe you need to double, triple down on that. And maybe
pay
find a way.
influencers,
Yeah,
right.
pay influencers.
Get a feature. I can give a really good piece of advice here because I see this all too often with the artists getting effed over. I'm not going to cuss this podcast.
I think he's already cussed somewhere.
I promised myself I wouldn't say the F word because Will has to edit the F words out.
He freaked over.
I freaked over. All right. A lot of artists are getting freaked over. No, truly. Biggest tip of advice for artists with features, okay?
Don't get freaked on.
With features. Don't pay an artist to feature on your song if you're not going to get a promo marketing pack attached to that. And here's the reason. You can drop a feature that you paid $10,000, $20,000. I mean, you know, some guys just charge a $1K, $2K, whatever for, and they won't repost it. They won't talk about it. It never happened. And you're out there in the stratosphere of a bunch of other people that have the same feature on their stuff that this artist is not talking about because they don't even like the song and they just did it for the bag. It does absolutely zero for you. It does zero, zero, zero. It's an ego play. It's for you to be like, I'm dope. But you paid for that, man. Like really put this into perspective. You're paying someone to come onto your song for their brand. That's it. That's it. If you like them as an artist, dope, all right? But if they don't mess with your song and they don't repost it and they don't care about it to promote it or show it to anybody, then you're screwing yourself and you're throwing money away. That's my biggest tip. Say, I want a feature. How much for a feature? With a promo pack, meaning I want you in a music video. I want you to repost this stuff. I want you to do story with swipe up. I want you to throw it on your YouTube page, whatever it is. But you need to negotiate that and those terms and figure out what you can do with that. Super important.
Yeah, and just to shy away from going over the release stuff, because you got to be fast at that and adaptive, like I was saying before. But if you've ever been in the studio with someone who knows what they're doing on the process side, you can learn a lot because you can see how fast they are. They've like learned specific things, especially like really good recording artists. They know how to hit the mic.
Yeah.
And
it's almost like templates, you know?
Yeah. And like the difference between you rapping and Drake rapping is Drake has immaculate voice control. You know what I mean?
He's a recording artist.
He's
Done
it 1,000 gajillion times. His workflow is down packed. He doesn't get in the studio and have to think about how to make the song.
Experiment with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's I say this with every major artist. They're a little bit of a formula, but they figured out how to create something that the audience reacts to. You know what I mean? That they can scale upon and repeat, and it's a repeatable process. So a lot of these guys, they have their process. They know they write a certain way because it gets them results, and they get it done fast, and they double, triple, quadruple down on these certain things that work for them. And like I said, these guys that are really good at what they do, they're fast and they're efficient. I think a lot of people are not efficient. And I've been in amateur studio sessions where people just literally waste hours because they're not efficient. You know what I mean?
Oh my God. throw money away, throw time away, and then try to fix it later. And then don't pay for a mix or a master, and their homie doesn't know how to edit. They don't know how to fix the problems, comp a vocal right, tune a vocal right, vocal line right, RX right. They can't even do the things with the automated processes right. And that's just killing you guys. It's murdering your career before it ever starts. Because it's fine if you do that and you're starting out, but you have to learn from it. You have to go, why doesn't it sound as good as Drake's records? How do I get there? If you're trying to compete with the best of the best and you're trying to make a career out of this, you got to figure out the process. You got to figure out who to work with, where are the professionals, what kind of budget do I need to put aside for that? And if not, find some homies, whoever, but build a team that wants to learn, that wants to grow and wants to get better. Not the guy that goes, yo, give me $50, I'll do it. And he's always going to take $50, $100, and he's going to do it. Because he'll always give you $50 work. He'll always give you $100 work. And you guys will be paying twice, 3 times, 10 times over. And you're just throwing money away. You're throwing all your money away. You're throwing your reputation away. Before it even starts, everybody knows you as... I mean, where do you think SoundCloud Rapper became like a bad thing? Mm-hmm. It became a bad thing because people didn't care about the quality. They said, I'm a SoundCloud rapper, because he just started dropping stuff without mixing it. It sounded like a mixtape, sounds like garbage. Yes, some of those artists did well. They took off. But dude, the percentage it's worse than playing the lottery, man. Mm-hmm. Like this is not the lottery. You don't play lottery with your business.
And we were talking about this. A lot of people get hits and they become lucky. I'm really talking about the artists that are here to stay. You know what I mean?
You want to build something.
There's so many artists, especially nowadays, that get one hit and they got a lucky, they just
popped
chance.
off.
They don't
on
know
accident.
why or how it happened, and they weren't able to.
They can't repeat it, right?
Yeah. So I'm really talking about the greats and how to really like create something. You know what I mean? Because these guys are machines. And I think everyone can kind of relate to this, but I think back to process and getting good at your process. I don't know how many people there have been to a Drake show or been to a Jay-Z show. If you hear them rap on the mic in front of the audience, their timing is freaking impeccable.
It's locked in.
It's locked in. And you think they're not in the studio rapping like perfectly on time?
Yeah, they're practicing every day.
They're practice like if rapping is what they do, then your freaking timing should be insane. You
Just
know what
be
I mean?
dope at rapping. You don't need to be good at recording yourself on Pro Tools. I'm really great at mixing my vocals on Pro Tools. Like, great.
They're like metronome
then you're going to be
straight.
mediocre at all that stuff.
Just think about like a drummer that wasn't metronome straight.
Right.
Why would a rapper who flows, quote unquote, not like try to be metronome straight? I know. Facts. I hear so many lazy
so you can
rappers.
swing, yeah. So I mean, you can.
And
swing.
Maybe the swing is the vibe, though.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if
you got to know what you're doing,
but you got to be really good at rhythm.
Right.
You know what I mean?
To break
That's
the rules.
foundation.
Right.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Facts.
So if you're swinging, you better be really good at rhythm. You know what
Absolutely.
I mean? And swinging right. You know what I mean? Not just lazy. So.
All right. So let's wrap this up. Let's get. I want you to give me your top 2 best pieces of advice or tips on moving fast as an artist.
The best?
Yeah, give me your top 2.
You don't want my worst tips?
No, give me the worst tips. He's like, I can give you the worst ones way better than the best ones.
Okay, moving fast, I would say learn to record yourself. Bam. Because you're not going to move fast if you're paying for studio time. And we offer studio time here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I try not to. I try not to bring anyone.
Yeah.
I try not to bring anyone in recording that doesn't know how to record.
Yeah.
Because they always, can I get 2 hours? And you're like, dude, this is going to take you 18 hours.
Yeah.
If you want to do this properly, you're going to do 2 hours, and then we're going to try and fix it and make it great, but it's not ever going to get there.
The really, really great artists that know how to, move quickly, know how to engineer just even a little, because then they know how, to communicate with the engineer. Just knowing that little bit of engineering and being able to, run the program just, to the basic levels that you can record yourself.
Right.
That will make you a much faster and better recording artist. So
all right. And what's your number 2?
Tip number 2. So I've already kind of said this, but tip number 2 is you have to pivot. You know what I mean? If you're doing something, then it's not getting the results, then you have to bounce, from that. I think too many people don't they do something and then they don't get the results and they keep doing it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because they think for some reason that's the way to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah, facts.
And obviously there's, examples of where people pivot way too much. Like they never stick to one thing, so it'll never work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you have to be able to measure things, and that's what I'm saying with pivoting. And so if you're going on the wrong track, you have to understand you're going on the wrong track. If you didn't get the results you want, you have to ask why. You know what I mean? And what to do different. And that's what a major thing I see with artists. They get into the habit of doing like a couple tricks, and eventually, just like everything, things change. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're so stuck on getting on the blogs, then that died in 2010. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or 2015.
Yeah, very good point.
People don't go there to find new music. So
Facts.
That's my 2 tips. Brad, what do you got?
I would say my top number 1 tip is to set aside a certain amount of money every month to get in the studio with a vocal producer. And I mean, if it's a great engineer that also vocal produces, awesome, but pay the money. Pay the money to get around the power, to get around the people that know what they're doing, that can teach you. That can teach you. Like, most of these guys are not going to trade. If you're an artist starting out, like, they're not trading you. But I'm talking about getting around awesome vocal producer engineers that can literally teach you in a couple hour session so much every single month that you're going to avoid all these mistakes of going slow. You're going to learn techniques better. You can ask questions. How are you de-essing? What's the channel? What are you putting me through? Why are you putting me through that? How are you doing that? What are you doing with the compression? You know what I mean? Like, just learning that is a absolute must, I think, for any artist that's trying to become a recording artist.
Brad says get a mentor, pretty much.
Get a mentor, like pay to get a mentor. Most mentors that are going to be worth anything are going to charge you. If you're good enough as an artist,
you'll have exponential growth getting around people
Absolutely.
who are better than you at certain things.
Always.
Not people that are worse. So
always pay to get around the people that can teach you and help you exponentially grow. Every month. I say every week if you can afford it, but put the money aside. And number 2, and this is going right back into this, pay the professionals. Get a professional mixing engineer. Get a professional mastering engineer. Get a professional producer. I'm not talking about your homie. I'm talking about someone that has proven results, not just placements, but has worked with the artist in the studio, has, awards, has films, has TV shows, has records out, has big projects out, and has the proof. Get around these people. Pay to get around them. Pay to work with them, because when you get your vocal back, your recording that you recorded in your bedroom, and you get the mix back, the master back from someone that's a professional, you'll see how far you can take the full product. And then you can tweak as you go. Well, what if I recorded this professionally at a recording studio? Well, what if I, etc.? You gotta be improving. So those are my 2 tips. It's literally just like pay to get around the people that can teach you and help you grow exponentially. Otherwise, you're doing this as a hobby. I promise you, you're doing it because you like the idea of hanging out with your buddies, getting high, getting drunk, hanging out, spending all this time cooking up, working. We're working in the studio when you're not working, and you're working very slowly, and you're not being efficient, you're not being effective, and you're not dropping records. And when people tell me that they really want a music career and they're doing this sort of thing where they're just hanging out, making records, never finishing anything, I literally think, no, you're not.
I'm going to bounce off that a little bit. The people who are really professional, whether they're professional rappers, engineers, artists, people with A&Rs in the industry, these people are busy. There's a reason they're busy.
Yes, they're paid.
Because they're either working all the time, and these people are trying to get better too.
Yes.
So just think about how hard they work.
We always want to learn. Everybody should always want to learn.
So like these guys are busting ass. And if you're thinking about, well, how come I'm not where they are? It's because maybe you are not busting ass enough. So
yeah. Yeah, and I think also, like, this is a big mentality shift that anyone in the music industry needs to start to shift into. The music industry, the music business is a lifestyle. It's not something you do. It's not a 9 to 5. It's not, I'm going to work today, I'm going to get off and I'm going to do something else. It's literally a lifestyle. You're walking around, you're wondering how things can be better. You're wondering how you can build your business, your artistry better. You're listening to other artists. You're absorbing other art, not just music, and you're being inspired by those things. Mixing is a lifestyle. Mastering is a lifestyle. Being a recording artist is a lifestyle choice. It's like being healthy. If you want to be an artist, you have to pick it as a lifestyle. You cannot take it as a job. You can't take it as like, I've been grinding, I've been hustling. If you talk like that, you're not in the lifestyle. And you need to become in the mindset that this is a lifestyle. It's who you are. It's part of what you do and who you are. And this is just what you do. It's like just part of it, you know, just going about my day. I'm a healthy person. I go to the gym. I'm a healthy person. I eat fruits and vegetables. I'm a recording artist. I listen to music. I'm in the studio. I work on music all the time. I think about music. I get better all the time. I talk about music. I read about music. I study music. I study the recording process, the engineering process. Make it a lifestyle.
Let's hit one more topic. You done?
No, I don't think so. I think we're good. I think we're going to cut this. We're 40 minutes in. I think it's a good time to stop.
No, this is just going off of what you're talking about.
Yeah,
so,
go ahead.
Accountability, Brad.
Accountability.
Setting goals, hitting numbers. Talk about it.
Yeah, well, obviously accountability is like, I think
that's moving fast right there.
Accountability is like,
if you're not creating X amount of songs a week.
Yeah, massive. Yeah. Sure. Because most people won't be accountable to themselves as much as they will to someone else. It's a human nature thing. We don't want to disappoint other people. We'll let ourselves slide. We'll eat the ice cream, dude. We'll sleep in. We'll drink too much, you know. We'll be like, we'll make up excuses in our head. But when it comes down to like, I got to be at this place at this time because I paid for this. I got a trainer and I don't want to let this person down. You'll show up at the gym. Same thing with music and releases. Get an accountability partner, a manager, anyone. It doesn't matter if they're a manager or not, you know, because I use that term loosely in music because I don't think it's really, you know, there's a big difference between an actual manager and managers in music, right?
Maybe we'll do a whole podcast on what the fuck a manager is.
Yeah. Versus an agent versus, you know.
Let's do it. That's the next one. Stay tuned.
Facts. Yeah, that'll be a good one. But
accountability.
Accountability. Pay for it. Make people. I think a really good one is social accountability. Something our homie Tree Sounds, you know, Link Halfway. Aiden is his name, but he's a producer. He has a team of producers. He's right next door to us. Go follow him at Tree Sounds. But one thing he did for a while, which I thought
Tree Sound Records. One thing he did for a while that I think is very, very, very impactful and very awesome, and it works, is he did the 30-day beat challenge, right?
So he did 30 for 30. So he did a beat a day for 30 days. He got people involved. And when you're accountable to other people and you're making it social, you're making it public, right? Then it's like everyone's watching and everyone's holding you accountable. Did you do your beats? You know, I did mine. And I think that is super powerful. So that, like the Nike Plus thing, when that came out, that is super awesome. It keeps you accountable. It tracks your progress. It tells you when you're screwing up, you skipped a day, etc. You need accountability on all levels. Find people that'll be honest with you, that'll be brutally honest with you, that actually care about you. Because people that don't care about you don't care if you fuck up or if you don't. I said that word, sorry. But
freak up.
Yeah, if you freak up or not. But the people that really, truly care about you, they're not going to let shit slide on you, right? They're going to be like, dude, you said you were going to do that and you didn't do it. And that's because they care about you. If they didn't, they would just be like, yeah, I don't care if you do that or not, dude. Like, all good. Like, you didn't do your beats for 30 days, whatever. Doesn't matter. Doesn't affect me, right? So get people that care about you to be accountable for, you know, like your mom, your dad, your brothers, your girlfriend, boyfriend, wife, husband, whatever. Make it statement to them like, listen, I'm trying to do this thing. It's really important to me. Keep me accountable.
Accountability is how you move fast.
Absolutely. You're going to get better. Like, you're going to get so much quicker if you're cutting a record a day. And like, well, you didn't finish the verse on that one. Well, I was going to, yeah. Well, dude, you got to finish the verse on this. You told me you were going to finish the verse on this. And you said it'd be done by today at noon. You know, the accountability is huge. We all have to hold each other accountable at Radium. We're constantly like, Will, why isn't this done? Kevin, why are we not doing this? You know, like, where's the editor? What'd the editor do? Why didn't we get this done? Everybody's holding each other accountable. So it's really powerful. It's why you get into a team, why you should start a business, why you should start any movement, is so that you have a powerful base of people going like, hey, by myself, I eat Cheetos, I hang out, I drink, I smoke some weed, and I maybe make a beat I never finish, and I got a bunch of starts on my hard drive. But you get in a team and they're like, yo, I need those stems by tomorrow. Where are the stems? You know what I mean? Like, and you got accountability. You're going to finish stuff. So those are, that's it. That's all I got for you.
Move fast, dog.
Move fast, bro.
And we're fastly moving at Bradley HD.
At KDE Beats, at Radium_media. Go tap in the new Netflix original series, Cannon Busters, all music by Radium Media. We got a bunch of talent on there. Shouts to Kevin, obviously. Shouts to me, myself.
No, shouts to LaShawn Thomas.
Shouts to LaShawn Thomas. Amazing creator, amazing friend. Just super talented creative, just a creative powerhouse. I think you guys will love the show. Shouts to everybody that was involved. You know who you are. But,
go on your Netflix.
Yeah, Marty Grimes, Bjornik.
Mansa.
They killed it. Mansa Imani, go follow him. He's amazing. These guys are talented. Lucas Cantor did a bunch of additional music, helped us arrange, compose, get these things to come to life, played banjo, mandolins. We got horns on stuff, so all the horn players and, the
whole season's up. Go binge it.
Yeah, there's so many people that were involved, like I just want to make sure everybody gets recognized. But
Andrew.
Yeah, Andrew Yargo. I never know his last name. Dude, just fix your last name, bro. Make it easier for me.
Yeah, fix things.
Andrew Y. Andrew Murica, I think, on IG. But yeah, Moses Garcia did so much help with cue sheet, from cue sheets to structuring to helping, Will Martins for filling out cue sheets for hours.
Otherwise, you wouldn't be paid, man.
That's right. We got to get paid, So thank you, Will, for helping us get paid. And everybody from the Manga UK Entertainment, Jerome and Alan and Bob Thompson. And who else are we missing? Benu Beats.
Matt Dispenza.
I mean, so many people helped make this show, obviously. A whole team of Satellite in Tokyo. Anyway, go check it out. Cannon Busters, Netflix, now streaming 12 episodes. Run it up. Tell us what you think about it, because we'd like to know.